Hello, I'm Fon Quinta welcoming you on today's edition of Prime News live from our studios in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. The news starts now. Cameroon entrepreneur Rebekah Nchung has just been sent back to the Gendarmerie Legion in Bonanjo, Douala, where she will be spending her second night following a new detention order signed by the prosecutor of the Court of First Instance for contempt of court in a case pitting her and her brother. According to Kawala, prominent human rights activist and president of the Cameroon People's Party, her detention is arbitrary and requested for her immediate release with the hashtag Free Rebekah going viral. Let's now listen to an excerpt of Edith Kawala selected for us by Lasha Kingsley.
Ms. Rebekah Nchung has been arrested. She is one of the most well-known CEOs in technology in Africa. She represents not only our country but our continent in many platforms. Rebekah was asked to come to the gendarmerie. When she arrived there yesterday, she was detained. There is no written complaint against her. There is no warrant of arrest. There is no summons even, and then no written document has been presented to her as the reason why she is being detained. She was informed that the gendarmes received instructions, verbal instructions from the Attorney General, the Procureur General, to detain her, and that is all the information she had. This morning, she was now deferred to the Court of First Instance here in Bonanjo, where we are. So we are waiting here at the Court of First Instance. As you know, this can mean that she can be held for provisionary detention. It can mean that she can be condemned. It's incredible that in Cameroon now we do justice verbally, with no written document anywhere, with no written complaint anywhere. We cannot allow this to happen as citizens.
Edith Kawala reacting there following the arrest of Rebekah Nchung. Still ahead, Cameroon's Minister of Transport Jean-Ernest Bibere Masena has suspended 2 interurban transport agencies in Cameroon for recurrent accidents. Mr. Bibere made the announcement during a crisis meeting in Yaoundé, Cameroon's political capital, with heads of some agencies. Details with Joy Ngong.
The Cameroonian government has hit hard on interurban transporters 1 week after the highway massacres between the 4th and 5th of August 2021, leaving over 40 persons dead. Implicated agencies have been issued an indefinite suspension. They are Avenue de la KDI and Solidarité Plus agencies. While announcing the suspensions on Tuesday, Ngale Bibere called on the authorities to cease all abuses by some travel agencies. Usumanu Shehu, driver of National Voyage, and Zugub Inyas, driver of Trésor Voyage, have equally been suspended for 6 months and 1 month respectively for gross disrespect of highway codes. The driver's license from Domo Betran of Général Voyage and Luc Prosper de Maison of Charter Voyage have also been seized for a period of 3 months. The accidents involving Charter Express, Avenue de la KDI, and Solidarité Plus Voyage took place in Makelene, Awai, and Bachenga, leaving over 40 casualties. Meanwhile, the accidents involving Général Express and Charter Voyage took place earlier in June this year, with 3 people dead. Other measures were equally drawn up during the crisis meeting, among which was the installation of functional seatbelts in buses of interurban transport agencies. All agencies must set up a vehicle tracking sheet attached to the journey information form on which the technical state of the vehicle is clearly indicated. The sheet must be signed by the manager of the agency. The average time for trips on accident-prone roads has equally been fixed at 5 to 6 hours, depending on the destination, with an additional 2 hours for night journeys. Managers of agencies are required to mention departure and arrival times in order to ensure the respect of the prescribed journey durations, among other resolutions. The Ministry of Transport has warned against the disrespect of the highway code and promised to strictly sanction defaulters as prescribed by the Cameroonian law.
Now, the Senior Divisional Office of Amenwa Division Ebune Confiance has announced the collective funeral ceremony of all those who perished in the Chanclave accident of January 27, 2021. Student journalist on internship Nube Naivona read through the communique and now reports.
Friday, August 13, 2021 has been set aside for a collective funeral ceremony to honor those who passed away at the Chanclave accident. The information is contained in a press release dated this day, August 10, 2021, and signed by the Senior Divisional Officer for Menwa Division, Mbonko Godleaf. Following the tragic accident that occurred on January 27, 2021 along the Nchung Hill that claimed over 49 lives, triggered by a collision involving a 70-seater bus and a truck transporting fuel, the Senior Divisional Officer encourages the community to share in the pain of the bereaved families. Going by the release, the funeral ceremony will hold at the Nchung Ceremonial Grandstand and will be presided by the Governor of the West Region, Awafonka Augustine. The Senior Divisional Officer equally notes that some 10 passengers whose names were registered on the traveling list have showed no sign of life in them since the accident occurred. He further calls on relatives of the deceased persons to endeavor to attend the ceremony while urging persons with information of the listed names to provide necessary information regarding their present situation.
A widespread condemnation has come after a Yaoundé-based lady identified as Rose Eyenge reportedly stabbed her boyfriend to death. Sources said the girl reportedly stabbed her lover for not yielding to her financial demands. Dolin Gandhi and the following report.
The upsurge in unusual suspects before the eyes of the law is taking another twist in Cameroon, with many not knowing who to trust and believe in anymore. In less than 2 months, several media revelations have been made of family members and loved ones losing their lives to close ties because of material possession. Only recently, the story of this young man, Allengagedcitizens, further broke the internet, as to say, wonders shall never end. Alain is said to have benefited some money, popularly known in the local parlance as Njangi, from his social gathering, whereby he later on retired to his Career Nkolo residence, Awai Escalier in Yaoundé. Upon arrival at home, Rose Eyenge, who is said to be Alain's girlfriend, began making financial demands from Alain, who on his part was hesitant to comply to his lover's requests. In the course of the tussle, Rose Eyenge went the extra mile by stabbing Alain to death. As at now, the suspect remains at large, leaving family members and well-wishers to mourn the deceased. It should be recalled that recently in Douala, a boy is said to have killed his father too because of financial demands. And just a few weeks ago, a similar scenario occurred in the west region of Cameroon, involving a lady who lost her life after responding to calls from her daughter's supposed fiancé. Flipping through online comments, many have blamed the recent act on the advocacy for gender equality in Africa. Meanwhile, for other online judges, any woman who can't do anything for herself does not deserve a boyfriend, while many believe such perpetrators are only heartless and inhumane. As sad as it may be, such stories only serve the need for more vigilance in the society, as an unusual suspect could be anyone around you.
Police in Yaoundé have finally arrested 2 young men accused of being involved in the kidnap and rape of a 16-year-old girl. The girl's kidnappers, who are currently under custody, demanded a ransom of 500,000 francs from parents of the girl's. Details with Nora Kakebi.
These are the 2 men, Edin Barga, 22, and Mayon Kabate, 23, who were apprehended by the police in the Central region for raping a 16-year-old girl. According to police sources, 16-year-old Ange Erika Andem was raped countless times by these 2 men and kidnapped. The men later asked for ransom, in which Erika's parents, out of fear, managed to raise a sum of 300,000 francs out of the 500,000 francs demanded by the rapists to secure her freedom. This ugly incident happened in the small village of Mfu in the Mefu and Afamba division in the Center region. And reports equally say 16-year-old Erika was kidnapped and raped on July 29, 2021. However, thanks to the timely intervention of Senior Police Superintendent in charge of Research and Criminal Investigation Services at the Center region, the two men were arrested on August 10, 2021.
La division régionale de la police judiciaire du centre a été saisie d'une plainte faisant état de ce que...
The police investigated the matter in which an adolescent was raped by some individuals and asked for the amount of 500,000 francs. This is a villainous act which must be punished seriously.
Qui exigeait alors pour sa libération le paiement de rançon de 500 000 francs.
It should be noted that the law enforcement officers in recent weeks have arrested other men who were also alleged to have kidnapped a 23-year-old girl, Harriet Yannick Elino Ate. Harriet was kidnapped and tortured recently with the kidnappers, asking for an exorbitant amount of 3 million CFA francs. Kidnapping in recent days has become the order of the day in the country. However, the law enforcement officers are sparing no efforts in getting the criminals into their dragnet.
Elements of the Customs Brigade in the far north region of Cameroon have seized 11 bags containing mobile telephones illegally imported into the country. The bags were seized during an operation in the Salé Sembe locality in the far north region of Cameroon. Details in the flow report. These 11 bags contain mobile telephones illegally imported into the country. The bags were seized from some individuals by elements of the Kmer operation for Zone 3 in Selo Semba locality in the far north region of Cameroon.
These are telephones which were imported illegally into Cameroon for security reasons or for professional reasons. We cannot see how these telephones entered the country. But just to inform you that our intelligence service is working 24 on 24.
According to Commander of the Customs Brigade Jude Mufo, the phones were seized during 2 operations, and the first operation saw the seizure of 9 bags, while the second led to the interception of 2 bags containing phones. The 11 bags of phones were presented to the press by elements of the Customs Brigade, and Commander Jude Mufo further revealed that owner of the goods will only collect after paying penalties.
Yeah, when the proprietor comes, he will now clear the goods with penalties.
The operation comes after custom officials intercepted a cargo containing pharmaceutical products in the Logon and Sharo division in the far north region of Cameroon. With an increasing rate of smuggling and fraudulent practices in the country, officials have called on the population to collaborate with custom officials in a bid to track down all those involved in such practices. Still ahead, the 10th African Decentralization and Local Development Day, commemorated alongside the 4th edition of Civil Status Registration and Vital Statistics Day, took place in Bamenda over the weekend. Officials regret the ongoing socio-political conflict in the country is retarding grassroots development. Details with our Northwest correspondent, Charles Kibwa.
The 10th African Decentralization and Local Development Day, as well as the International Statistic Day, was celebrated in Bamenda August 10, 2021, evaluating the decentralization strides carried out in the region within the context of the socio-political crisis. Through presentation of context and the justification of the 10th African Day of Decentralization and Local Development, regretted the ongoing socio-political crisis in the Northwest is retarding grassroots development. The regional delegate of decentralization and local development for the Northwest, Mba Pius, emphasized celebrating alongside the 4th edition of Civic Status Registration and Vital Statistic Day to create awareness. He encouraged the population to make good use of the civil status registration by getting the necessary documents.
Let the population come on board. Decentralization is power to the grassroots. Let the grassroots population be able to participate in this movement and also follow up of projects and activities that are earmarked for their communities, and sensitizing on issues of decentralization and their role as far as decentralization and the achievement of the objectives of decentralization are concerned.
In a key word, Northwest Governor Anglophone Afrique called on the Regional Assembly and the councils to take over decentralization and not relent in projects that will reinforce local development.
The Regional Council, Regional Assemblies, Regional Representatives, and member of the House of Chiefs has been devised after the national dialogue to be used as a tool and also a trees from the government to the population.
This year's celebration in Cameroon for the first time and in the region in line with the theme, the Regional Assembly through the Commission of Education, Sports and Cultural Activities disclosed is preparing to fund artists and construct cultural centers in all 34 subdivisions in the Northwest region to promote arts and cultural heritage. This year's celebration was on the theme, the contribution of arts, culture and heritage in the sustainable development of African cities and territories.
On our health page, Bokengo Wade took interest on how safe and effective vaccine is critical in ending COVID-19 pandemic. To this effect, the World Health Organization has been working tirelessly with partners to deploy a safe and effective vaccines. Her report.
Johnson & Johnson Jason's COVID-19 vaccine is the fourth coronavirus vaccine to be approved by the World Health Organization following Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna.
WHO gave emergency use listing to Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine, making it the fourth vaccine to receive WHO's approval.
With controversy surrounding some of the vaccines developed, licensed and approved by some individual countries worldwide, the World Health Organization Director General has this to say regarding the J&J's Jason's vaccine.
We hope that this new vaccine will help to narrow vaccine inequalities and not deepen them. The COVAX facility has booked 500 million doses of the J&J vaccine, and we look forward to receiving them as soon as possible.
It should be borne in mind that safe and effective vaccine are a game-changing tool in the fight against the pandemic. Nonetheless, wearing a face mask, washing hands, practicing social distancing, avoiding crowded areas amongst others are some measures everyone is encouraged to practice without relent.
So a sports story, the Northwest Amputees football team known as the Abaka Boys FC were crowned champions of the 2020 Cameroon's amputee football competition. They defeated the Southwest Amputees 2-1 during the final over the weekend. The team presented their trophy to the press at the Cameroon Baptist Health Service Conference Hall in Bamenda, Northwest region of Cameroon. Details with Charles Kebwa.
The Northwest Amputee team, known as the Abaka Boys FC, crowned champion of the year 2020 Cameroon Amputee National during a finals over the weekend, defeating the Southwest Amputee team 3-1. August 11, 2021, presented the trophy to the press at the Cameroon Baptist Health Services Conference Hall, Bamenda.
If we have people who can come in to support us, to sponsor us, to work with us, we'll be so happy. You know, going to Douala to get this trophy back home is because we have a strong burning desire and passion for amputee game.
With the passion of the game and unquenchable appetite for inclusive society that keeps them happy, though with difficulties, the team today boasts of over 50 plus amputees with 25 active and 15 healthy players.
Most of us are also internally displaced. We do not have businesses that we do for a living. We simply do this, and people pass once in a while and they give us 1,000, they love what we're doing, and that's how we survive. So we lack funding. We don't have a means to run this. You know, we are running it just because of the passion that we have for it, just because we have an unquenchable appetite for inclusive society.
The day's presentation of the trophy to the press was to appreciate the press for its input and supporting them, and to let the population know they are in need of sponsors.
We intend that if we have people who can come in to support us, to sponsor us, to work with us, we'll be so happy.
On hand to congratulate the Abakwa Amputee FC on behalf of the Director of the Cameroon Baptist Health Services, SIP's office coordinator said the Cameroon Baptist Convention has provided access to infrastructure for the team and committed to support the team via clear strategy to raise funds if the players have sustainable means. The team will be representing the country in the days ahead in the All-African Amputee Nations Cup in Tanzania.
In what's making news on the African continent, Aline Sama visited some countries with striking headlines and compiled the following report for Prime News.
Let's start in Nigeria, where 24 members of one family have died after consuming a suspected poisoned meal. The incident occurred in Danzanke village, a remote community in the northwest Sokoto state. According to Ali Inam, the country's health commissioner, the family mistakenly used fertilizer chemical that looked like salt in preparing a meal on Monday. He added that medical personnel tried to save the victims' lives without success. However, 2 members of the family who only tasted the food are now receiving treatment in hospital. Following the tragic incident, officials have once more advised people to always keep poisonous substances away from their kitchens or food stores for safety reasons. While in the Democratic Republic of Congo, 2 army officers have been sentenced to life in prison by a military court in North Kivu province for fighting at Goma airport. Videos of Captain Mukando Muzito Pauline and Major Rimenze Kangingo Bisimwa insulting each other and exchanging punches were shared online over the weekend. Both were found guilty of assault and battery and for violating a state of siege in the province by the court. However, the 2 have 5 days to appeal. A new law in Guinea says all civil servants in the country will henceforth be required to show proof of having been vaccinated against COVID-19 before they are allowed to access their workstations. The new measure follows a special cabinet meeting on Tuesday. President Alpha Conde directed the Prime Minister to ensure that ministers and all government employees obtain a health certificate to allow them to work. He also instructed government officers to take vigorous steps and act to protect the public from risks of infection. The Guinean leader has also demanded that everyone entering Guinea from countries affected by the Delta variant must be vaccinated, as is the norm everywhere. He also announced the strict enforcement of preventive rules to limit the virus from spreading among citizens as the country battles hardly with the infections. These measures include, among others, mandatory mask wearing, indefinite closure of nightclubs and other popular and often crowded leisure venues.
Eileen Summer's tour around the African continent ends today's edition of Prime News, compiled for us by Faith Tataberino. The news was produced by Ewane Nolinga Ella. My name is Fonquinta. Coming up next is Prime Hour with Kumluna. Stay with us. Good night.